With the double affinity weekend on the go, I did mention that if you picked up a 3-day affinity booster, it would basically double the double, giving you 4 times the normal affinity during that weekend. This of course works for a double credit weekend. If you get a credit booster, it will give you 4 times the credits, and same on resources. I've covered resource boosters, credit boosters and affinity boosters in the past, in one way or the other, including the whole comparing the 30-day 200 platinum booster to a normal 3-day or 7-day. Okay, the value is there if you constantly buy boosters, but to be fair, my affinity and credit ones are from the prime accessories, so I'm used to running double affinity. I just tried avoiding saying that earlier. But I got a login reward of a blue booster, something I've never bothered picking up, never bothered using, and when I do get it as a daily login reward, it's the 3-hour one, I usually log off. Just because I don't have a purpose for the blue resources. But with the Hammer coming out, costing, what is it, for a the starter level clan, it's 5,000 mutagen samples. For my clan, it was like 150,000, and this was expensive. The new roads, everything else is done for it, because it needed new roads, nano spores, all the rest of it, but mutagen samples, I've emptied myself into it. And because this thing dropped, I thought, well, a great use of it would be go to the Orokin Derelict, do a survival mission, because I know I can do those for an easy 40 minutes, and see how well this thing works over a normal one, which I've done a lot of. So that's exactly what I did. I equipped my Nidus and my Heliocore, I nearly said Helios, Heliocore, and jumped straight in. I was planning on doing about 40 minutes of it, and then I started thinking, well, for the sake of this, I should probably leave it about 15 minutes, because it's going to be a little bit easier, the numbers are going to be more on average, and silly things like that. But with this, and not a Necros, it's going to be what actually drops, not what Necros can pull out of the dead. Which is what I usually do. I just jump in here with Nidus and have fun. The last time I actually ran this, I was using a Rhino, which doesn't really matter much because I was working on something else. But I only managed to pick up 34 mutagen samples. Using Nidus, I managed to pick up 40 with this booster on in 15 minutes. Huge bit of a difference. If I had have gone that extra 5 minutes, I would have had a lot more of these things. So these boosters work not as good as I would hope, considering it's meant to double things. Okay, yes, the chance of them coming out was obviously clearly higher, but an extra 6 and saving 5 minutes wasn't really that much. And then I kind of thought to myself, okay, yes, it works, it pulled more out in less time, but let's see what Necros can do. So he's not a bad forming frame, but that is kind of the point of him, because Desecrate pulls things from the dead. So did the same thing, 15 minutes, Orokin Derelict survival, and was quite surprised in the results actually, because it went from the 40 that Nidus managed to get in the same length of time to 64 using Necros. Okay, it's expected, Necros is using Desecrate, he pulls more out, but an extra 24 was way more than I expected. I would like to have seen Nidus get the 64 using just this booster, because that would be almost double what Rhino got without that booster. But the increase amazed me. The difference between Rhino without it, then Nidus with it, to Necros with it, and Desecrate. I mean, it went from 36 for 20 minutes without it, to 64 used in 15 minutes with a Necros and a resource drop chance booster. Yeah, I was actually very surprised how well this works, remembering the best place to get mutagen samples is in the Orokin Derelict, because they drop there more than they do in other places. But is it really worth the 40 platinum for a 3-day booster, the 80 platinum for a 7-day booster, or the 200 platinum for a 30-day booster? That all comes down to how much you want to farm this kind of resource. If you really badly want the Hammer and you're willing to put the time in, running it for a week, you probably still won't be able to get enough mutagen samples to put in there, because I think it was 150 for hours. We still have 100,000 of these things to find from somewhere and put in there. I think I will be picking one up and just spending my time in the Derelict. It means I'm going to run out of keys constantly, but that was a huge improvement over what it does usually. And to be fair, yeah, I kind of need to do this more than anything else to get that weapon researched, but I was really amazed on how well this booster actually worked.